So yeah, thanks again everyone for coming along today. Really, the reason we've done this event, I mean, we've been in place in Rochdale around 2 years now. We've seen some really good results in the work that we're doing, and we're looking to extend that as much as possible. I'm just going to kick off with a few facts about men and men's mental health. Things you're probably aware of, but you know, it's always good to reinforce what we are dealing with and why we are trying to make the difference that we are. Men are less likely to seek help for emotional health problems. Only 12.5% of men are diagnosed with a common mental disorder compared to 19.7% of women. 6% of men are alcohol dependent, 2% of women are. 4.8% of men use Class A drugs, 2% of women again are. 79% of drug-related deaths are males. 73% of adults who go missing are males. Men account for 90% of rough sleepers. 87% of violent crime is committed by men, and they're twice as likely to be the victims of violent crime. 94% of adults in prison are men, and men are twice as likely to be detained and treated compulsorily under the Mental Health Act. 75% of people who kill themselves are men. So clearly, you know, the data is skewed towards men far more than women. Hence why programs like this are in place. So It's a Goal. The purpose of It's a Goal, very simple: helping men become happier and lead healthier lives. The aims to reduce social isolation, increase social inclusion, increase positive mental health and well-being, and increase employability. As I move through the presentation, I'll be touching on these and why It's a Goal is good for socialisation and why it is impacting on mental health and well-being and employability. We'll put some more meat on the bones of that later on. Okay, so the core message at the heart of It's a Goal is be the best you can be. The programme targets a traditionally hard to reach group: men with depression, anxiety, self-confidence issues, low self-esteem. And as I said, the core message is be the best you can be. It looks and feels non-clinical. We're trying to move away from using terms mental health and depression and things like that. That's hence the reason it's in a football club and not in a health centre or a GP surgery. Everything that the feedback we kind of get is that the feel of the football club is a great relaxed environment for the guys to come to. They don't feel stigmatised when they're here, so they're more inclined to come and get involved. A few practicalities for you. It's an early intervention group therapy. It's not necessarily appropriate for men who suffer from acute psychosis or more enduring long-term mental health problems. As we say, early intervention, it's people who are willing to come along, engage, share the problems, receive feedback and try and make some practical solutions. As I say, members must be willing to make a change and engage with other group members. We aim for 10 to 12 players per season. Now, players and season I'll touch on in a minute. We do use football metaphor throughout the course, so hopefully by the end of the presentation you'll get a bit of a feel for that. We have 10 players on the current season. We find that number really helps kind of engender a team spirit, you know, and a real bond between the guys. Run at football stadium and facilitated by a coach who's myself. Now, it's my role to help the guys set goals weekly. It's my role to make sure that the interaction between the guys is positive and it stays positive, and that the goals that they're setting are smart goals, but they're also challenging, and they change each week in order to fit the needs of the group. So how does it work? Using football metaphor, the players are encouraged to share the problems with the group. With the help of coaches, players set themselves positive and achievable goals to aim for throughout the week. These goals can be absolutely anything. We've had groups of guys who've come to us with alcohol problems, with drug problems, relationship issues, trying to get back into work. So the goals can be anything around that. A lot of guys we find want to improve the physical health in the hope that will improve the mental well-being. So the goals are really tailored to suit the individual. I'm there to guide and kind of give constructive advice, hopefully, around goal setting. Each week the players report back to the rest of the team. We share in each other's successes, which is great. You know, we all want that tick and say, yes, I've achieved the goal this week. If we don't manage to do it, we'll share the issues that we've faced. How can we alter the goal next week in order to make it more achievable and to get the guys to move on to that next step? So the season, again, the football metaphor, the season is the course. It's 11 weeks or 11 matches, the first match being the goalkeeper. Now, the goalkeeper session is a meet and greet session. The guys come along, we'll do a few icebreakers. It's the chance to meet each other, meet myself, join the team and set the first goals. What we'll sometimes do is say, to the guys, where do you want to be in 11 weeks' time? You know, where can we get you to? Yes?
Interesting, so the guys come along.
Yes.
Would you do anything practically to encourage them to come along? Would you pick them up
there is a possibility of that. Yeah, obviously, if we've got 10 guys on the group, I can't be going to 10 different places. If there's a specific reason why someone would need that, it's something we could look at. Yes. Yeah.
I'm just thinking, like, if you've got, say, minor mental health issues or just suffering from depression, getting that at home is, a big deal, isn't it?
Yeah, it can be. Yeah, and that can be a massive step for them. I mean, what we try and do, I will touch on it later in the presentation, but I try and go out and do an informal one-to-one interview first with the referrer and the client. So the three of us will meet and they can kind of put a face to my name, so they don't feel. Hopefully, that'll break down that barrier a little bit. We do take kind of practical steps in order to try and overcome it. Yeah. Hopefully, I'll be able to clear that up for you just a bit later on. The 4 weeks after are known as the defence. We'll look at things like roles, teamwork, support, focus on change and resilience. So in these sessions, we're really asking the guys to look inside themselves. Where do I want to be in 11 weeks? What do I need to change? Is there something that's holding me back from getting a job in my relationship that's making me drink more, take drugs, whatever it may be? The 4 weeks after are known as the midfield. This is all about trying to develop self-confidence. I use the term self-development quite a lot. Whether you like that term or not, I'm not sure, but I find the midfield sessions really fit that kind of ethos, the self-development ethos. It's looking at things like relaxation, visualization, communication, trying to raise motivation to achieve goals every week, trying to develop assertiveness. So things that we sometimes neglect. A lot of the guys won't necessarily think, oh, I'm not very good with my assertiveness. But we find that the assertiveness session is usually quite a good one. It's something they realise they are neglecting, and maybe they are letting people walk all over them sometimes, for want of a better term. So looking at things like that, it helps the guys analyse areas of their life that maybe are lacking and they need to develop a little bit more. The final 2 sessions are known as the attack sessions. So this is all about opportunities going forward, looking beyond it's a goal, changing negative behaviours, practicing the techniques that have been learned and evaluating the successes. So we'll be looking back over the 11 weeks and saying, look how far you've come, you've set these goals, you've achieved these things, but also, okay, what else do we need to do? And it's then my role, if possible, to signpost the guys to other services if that's what they would like. In addition to the 11-week season, we also run a supporters club. This is going to be starting in January. It's a drop-in facility, slightly more informal, slightly less structured, but still we aim to do some good positive work in the supporters club. The supporters club's for everyone, past players, current players and future potential players. It's their chance to come along and find out a little bit about the course from people who've been there and seen it and done it. Such as the guys who are here today who've completed the course. It may be that people who are unsure about coming on It's a Goal will feel a little bit reassured by meeting those who've been and done it and hearing a few testimonials from them. A couple of evaluations have been carried out into It's a Goal, so I'm just going to run over some of the evidence that these have found. It's just a few statistics for you. One was done in 2010 by the University of Nottingham, and this year, the University of Central Lancashire completed an evaluation as well. And this kind of gives us where we're up to at the moment. So, what we've found from these evaluations, 42% of people that are referred actually start the season. We aim for about 20 plus referrals per season in order to get our 10 through the door, 10 to 12 through the door. As I'm sure you're all aware, with these services there is something of a fall away, so if we try and recruit more than will start, then that's what we will do. 40% of players starting have used mental health, drug or alcohol services in the previous 12 months. So it might be that the guys are ready to try a different service, something a little bit more tailored to their individual interests and needs, and they might have an interest in football and it could work for them. 67% of those starting actually complete the season. At the conclusion of the season, we found that 25% have participation in meaningful social activities. That could be, well, that will be away from It's a Goal, getting involved in other activities that could benefit them. 25% feel less isolated. So again, some good results there. Mental health and well-being. Now this is measured in 2 different ways. We use the Mental Health Recovery Star and WEMWEBS, which is the Warwick Edinburgh Mental Wellbeing Scale. Now these are WenWebs is a series of questions on a scale of 1 to 5. The players will score how specifically it relates to them. The mental health recovery star is a scale of 1 to 10, how well they're dealing with certain aspects of their life, so managing mental health, the work, the relationships, all different things. So the average improvement rate of 10.6 on WenWebs is actually quite a significant score. A lot of other services use WenWebs and they generally aim for a score of around 4.8. So as you can see, it's quite a big jump beyond that. We kind of put that down to a good referral criteria, getting the right people through the doors. You know, not everyone would score that highly. A lot of that we put down to the fact that the guys are doing something they enjoy. They're coming to a place that is inspirational for a lot of people. So obviously that's going to give them that boost, and that's one of the reasons we hopefully are seeing these scores. An average 80% positive change on the mental